Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go, Brandon.
No.
1 year deal.
No.
19 million, 1 year.
Hell no. No, for what?
Hey everyone, I'm Ben Schneider. And this past weekend, NASCAR returned to Talladega Superspeedway. The land of close finishes, massive accidents, and more often than not, some sort of controversy. Sometimes that controversy is rooted in the yellow line rule. Other times it stems from a late race restart. And in some cases, it even involves the fans in the grandstands. That last one was brought to the center of everyone's attention last fall. And believe me, when I say everyone,
let's go, Brandon.
I mean everyone. Don't tell me you haven't heard the Let's Go Brandon slogan at some point since last October. Now, anyone who knows me knows I hate talking about politics. So in this next episode of the Absolute Worst series, instead of ranting about how LGB became a meme, movement, or rallying cry, I want to take a look at what allowed the moment to happen in the first place, and why the Frontstretch interview has created many more problems than it's solved. So with that, let's get into it. As always, let's take a brief look back at how we got to this point. Traditionally, NASCAR's race winners have been interviewed in Victory Lane, the designated spot where the winning driver and team go to celebrate their victory. Some people complained that it got too corporate. Fox Sports' Mike Joy even noted this in a recent tweet, highlighting that NASCAR was at one point putting up a fence as drivers exited their cars so that they couldn't swat the signs of competing brands off the roof of their cars. But honestly, this is the most expensive sport on the planet in many ways, and everything is driven by sponsorship now more than ever. So for my money, that's just par for the course. The procedure was fairly standard and straightforward, until Daytona in 2017. NBC elected to join William Byron and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at the start-finish line and interview them right as they were finishing their celebration burnouts. At the time, I thought it was maybe just a one-off, something to give the summer Daytona races a new and unique tradition perhaps. But as we quickly saw, this change would prove to be a permanent one. Fox interviewed Austin Dillon both on the Frontstretch and in Victory Lane after he won the 2018 Daytona 500. And eventually, the Frontstretch interview became standard for that network as well. Even the standalone FS1 Truck Series broadcasts have started doing it after holding out for a couple of years. On the surface, the change in location for the winner's interview may not seem like a big deal, but I think a closer look at the history of NASCAR celebrations will end up suggesting otherwise. NASCAR is special. Most forms of motorsport around the world have a podium ceremony with their top 3 finishers. Heck, even IndyCar does this at most races outside the Indy 500. The winner always gets their time in the spotlight, sure, but then the second and third place drivers are brought in as well. But in NASCAR, the winning team gets the celebration space all to themselves. Victory Lane is an important place in NASCAR. It's been the site of some incredible emotions over the years.
I told my wife today, she's like, if you win tonight, oh, I'm gonna cry. It's unreal. I thought if I made it without seeing my dad or my wife, I'd be okay, but it's just, it's unbelievable, really. I can't explain it. And
Hi.
It's just, it's a dream.
Your grin told so many stories on your cool-down lap.
It's just real emotional. I haven't won here in a long time. It was my daddy's birthday a couple days ago, and just real emotional, man. I've been, everything's just so good for me right now. My personal life and my racing, the team I'm with. I don't know why. I don't feel like I deserve it, but I just feel overcome, with a lot of emotion. And been a long time since I won here. We run so good here, and to not win here in so many races, it bothers you.
John, I see the tears in your eyes. This emotional win for you. I know there's been a lot up and down for this team. What does this do for you guys moving forward, this win?
Yeah, it's definitely an emotional win. All the hard work that goes in, everyone works their tails off, and we haven't had the best of luck this year. And getting in victory lane when we needed to, God is great. I can't thank him enough. Being faithful, I knew all the hard work would pay off. So this is awesome Father's Day present for Dad here and team owner.
And yet, in an era where there's a bigger emphasis on winning than ever before, there's hardly any coverage of victory lane these days. Seriously, did you know Ruoff Mortgage replaced Gatorade as a title sponsor of victory lane last year? You sign a brand new sponsor who is surely looking to maximize their return on investment. Yet your TV partners insist on interviewing the winner on the track away from the victory lane ceremony. What's the point of bringing in a title sponsor if the victory lane ceremony isn't even the center of attention anymore? The Frontstretch interview not only takes the attention away from Ruoff, it also takes the spotlight off of the winning team as a whole. When a driver is interviewed on the Frontstretch, that's all it is. A driver interview.
They get out on the front straightaway. I'm not sure I've heard anything really compelling from any of the drivers that makes me go, yeah, this wouldn't happen if he weren't doing this interview right now.
It's not much different than the post-race interviews for every other position. But when that driver is in victory lane, they're often getting showered by their crew members with champagne, Gatorade, Coca-Cola, or Mountain Dew. And that adds to the draw of the celebration. Instead of just one driver, it gives us scenes of an entire team coming together to celebrate and commemorate the special achievement that they've just accomplished together.
Nothing's smoother than a car pulling into that crowded victory lane and everybody sort of, releasing all of that positive energy. Driver gets out. He feeds off of all the people that are there around him. The interview that he gives in that moment is better than what I hear on the front straightaway.
You don't even have to bring the winning driver straight to victory lane. Go ahead. Let them get out of the car for a brief moment. Let them give the checkered flag to a young fan. I'm all for that. But don't shove a camera and microphone in their faces right away. Give them some time to let the emotions out and allow the moment to sink in.
I miss the driver having the opportunity to pull into victory lane and just sit there for a minute and get his thoughts together, and a couple people reach in and give high fives and get that signal to crawl out of your car. Like, to me, that was commemorating the win.
The TV crew shouldn't even be out there at all. For one thing, it ruins the victory lane shots. Just ask Matt Kenseth fans about his last win. I've never seen Matt Kenseth show this much emotion before. Well, at least this much positive emotion. He was so excited and enthusiastic that he looked like a kid in a candy store. But the shot of his Raw celebration features an NBC cameraman in a bright yellow vest. It was like Drake at Kobe's last All-Star game, photobombing the picture of Kobe and LeBron in a one-on-one sequence. Imagine how great this photo of Matt would have been without the TV guy in the frame. Seriously, at the end of the day, what are we gaining from this? The immediate reaction? The raw emotion without giving it a chance to sink in? The fan interaction? Well, as you're about to see, that last one often creates the potential for more harm than good. Surely you knew where this was going. We're all aware of that incident by now. But in case you're unfamiliar with how it all started, here's a quick recap. Last October, Xfinity Series driver Brandon Brown scored his first career win at Talladega. He got out of his car to do his interview at the start-finish line on the Frontstretch, only to be greeted by a certain chant that had become popular at college football games in the weeks leading up to this moment. And then, this happened.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go, Brandon. Brandon, you told me you were going to kind of hang back those first two stages and just watch and learn. What did you learn that helped you there in those closing laps?
Now let me be clear. I have no idea what Kelly Stavis' intentions were here. I don't know if the headset muffled the noise and she genuinely thought they were chanting "Let's go, Brandon." I don't know if she was trying to deflect the attention back to Brown. I don't know if she was trying to hide a derogatory chant directed at the president. Only she knows for sure. But regardless, for the next few weeks and even months, "Let's Go Brandon" was mainstream in conservative political circles. It became the sanitized version of FJB, and it was all over media coverage. Now, please spare me your thoughts on the Biden administration. That's not the point of this video. I'm not interested in having that discussion here or in the comments. What I am interested in highlighting is just how detrimental this was to Brandon Brown. You'd think that after winning a race, sponsorship might be easier to come by for Brown and his team. But with Let's Go Brandon sweeping the entire country, the opposite happened. Sponsors were hesitant to get involved with a driver who was associated with the chant, whether he wanted to be or not. It led to desperation for Brown. He eventually signed a full-season deal with a cryptocurrency named after the phrase, only for the deal to be struck down by NASCAR. Now say what you will about whether or not this was a true quote-unquote political sponsorship, but the coin is basically worthless right now. It's highly unlikely they would have gotten through a full season without the checks bouncing anyway. The deal was never a good idea from the start. And again, regardless of what you think of everything that's unfolded in this saga, we can all agree that the controversy would have almost certainly been avoided if the interview had just happened in Victory Lane like it used to. Brown and Stavis wouldn't have been right under the grandstands, and the chants wouldn't have been nearly as audible, if at all. With all the controversy of the last 7 months, that should have been the definitive wake-up call to go back to the basics. By the way, this isn't a new problem with Talladega fans. When Jeff Gordon beat Dale Earnhardt Jr. under caution in 2004, Gordon was pelted with beer cans and soda bottles as he did his burnout on the front stretch. Just imagine if TV crews had been running onto the scene, and Gordon had to get out of his car to do an interview as fans were striking his car with all sorts of debris. Now obviously, I'm not trying to paint all fans that attend Talladega races in a bad light. Heck, I'll give them credit, we didn't hear any of those chants during the races this past weekend. But the unfortunate reality is that a lot of NASCAR fans have done a lot of stupid things over the years. So if nothing else, wouldn't it be a wise idea to avoid the front stretch interview out of an abundance of caution for driver safety? Unlike the previous 2 episodes in this series, I'm not convinced this one is here to stay. As strongly as I feel about the validity of a full season championship points format, and the validity of ending a race under caution, this is an issue where it seems harder to find someone that prefers the current way to the way it used to be. Looking at all this, I do believe this is another case of fixing something that wasn't broken. That being said, if you do prefer the front stretch interview, I'd still love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know why you think I'm right or wrong, and let's have that conversation. And as always, thanks for watching.